Well, let's stay with the situation in Ukraine, the rising tension there. The Pentagon saying Russian military aircraft repeatedly crossing the border into its neighbour's airspace over the past 24 hours. Dr. Michael Slobodchikoff is a lecturer at Troy University in Alabama. He's the author of Strategic Cooperation, Russia's Relationship with the Former Soviet States. Dr. Slobodchikoff, what is your greatest concern at this moment?
Well, my concern has to do with how much control Russia has over the separatist groups and how much control the government in Ukraine has over pro-Ukrainian groups that are they're causing damage as well. And so this could get out of control and lead to civil war down the road.
These latest developments on the ground and in the air, indeed, with these incursions by Russian military aircraft, the seizure of these international military observers, the Russian troop operations just within a few thousand meters of the border, what do they suggest to you? Is this an escalation or is it, again, more saber-rattling?
I think it's partially saber-rattling. I think Russia is trying to convince Ukraine to enact some necessary reforms constitutionally and to give Eastern Ukraine more autonomy and freedom in its affairs and to ensure minority rights. So I think this is a way of saber-rattling to cause them to do so. However, I think that Russia is preparing for in case it feels the need to go in, and that will obviously escalate tensions even further.
Do you feel that the West is largely impotent? There's just been a statement a few minutes ago that they're going to increase and broaden the sanctions, but so far they haven't worked at all.
I think that the sanctions will have limited scope of working. I don't think the sanctions will be very effective. The question on everyone's mind is how far is Russia willing to push before the United States gets involved militarily? And that's the large question that everyone's asking at this point.
So what should the next step be, ideally, in your opinion?
Ideally, tensions need to be de-escalated. A new constitution needs to be accepted, giving Eastern Ukraine more freedom and more autonomy. And I think that would go a long way to de-escalating the tensions in Ukraine.
Dr. Michael Slobodchikoff from Troy University, thank you very much indeed, sir.
Thank you.
Well, for the more than 2.5 million people who have fled Syria since the start of the country's civil war, both security and poverty have become growing problems. One of the largest refugee populations is in neighbouring Lebanon.